Hello everyone, my sister and her family recently gave me a PS5 for Christmas and I finally got around to playing Spider-Man 2. And that got me thinking about Spider-Man and gaming the past couple of decades. So grab some drinks, get some snacks, and here are my top 10 favorite Spider-Man video games. Okay everyone. Whew, that feels better. Starting at number 10, I would probably have to say Spider-Man Web of Shadows. This was a video game on the PS3, and even though it's not as refined or as great as the games that came before or after it, it still is an underrated video game. That iconic opening with Spider-Man walking, seeing all the mayhem everywhere, and fighting Venom, fighting the symbiotes. It does get repetitive, but I do like the combo meter, and it is that fun kind of comic book video game you want, you know? It's not like the movie video games at the time. It may not be entirely Ultimate Spider-Man, but it's fun in its own right, and it's in that nice little era of the early 2010s. After that, at number 9 is Spider-Man the Movie. This is the first PS2 video game, iconic video game. I played the Neversoft games on PS1, so this was a huge step up. Being in 5th grade, I loved playing this game. Loved the cheats. Arachnid, dodge this, get to play as Morpheus from the Matrix. I loved playing through levels based on the film. So it was kind of cool seeing the comic book world grounded and put into the world of Tobey Maguire while also getting to replay all the amazing moments from the film. This was such a cinematic video game and one of the better early movie tie-in games. After that, at number 8 is Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. This has a really cool story. Madam Web, the different dimensions, pretty much Into the Spider-Verse, and what you saw in the 90s cartoon is presented here. You get the different Spider-Mans through different dimensions and just the different gameplay mechanics. Some part of it feels Spider-Man, then you're like in the 1930s Spider-Man, feels a little bit like Batman, you know? So it's kind of cool seeing like the future Spider-Man, the present day Spider-Man, the 30s Spider-Man. Every Spider-Man have their own distinct gameplay mechanics and flavor to it, and visual aesthetic, and that's just so cool playing as Spider-Mans from different dimensions. While I do think other Spider-Man games are a bit better mechanic-wise, story-wise, this is still a bit of an underrated video game and a bit of a hidden gem as well. After that, at number 7 is Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. I absolutely adore Enter Electro. This was such a cool sequel to the Neversoft video game. On the PS1 version, you could actually see his webs. I love how they redid some of the character models more akin to the PC version of the first game. And seeing Hammerhead in this, seeing Electro, the story here, seeing how this world expanded after the first game, hearing Hank McCoy Beast, Stan Lee's narration, like I love how this game connected more into the Marvel universe. And it's still the same mechanics, but this time we have different type of webs with like flaming webs, armor that's played. The cheats were just as iconic with the different suits and comic book issues you could find just like the first game. It's more of the same while also giving some room for improvement. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I would have loved to see a third Spider-Man game in this universe, but I have to say they gave us 2 gems on the PS1. After that, at number 6 is Spider-Man 3, the video game, more specifically the PS3 version. I love both versions, but Spider-Man 3 is kind of like Superman Returns, a video game, in the fact that it's actually better than the film. And it's great seeing all the voice actors be played by the actors from the movies with Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, James Franco, and them, Thomas Hayden Church. But what this does, like the first Spider-Man game and the second one, is that it incorporates the film's plot and puts it into the world of the Marvel Universe. So we have Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, as a main villain here. We get to see Sandman more in depth. We get to see the new Goblin, and the use of the 6-axis controller was pretty interesting for an early PS3 video game. It has an open sandbox feel of Spider-Man 2, and while some parts of it are a step down, it's really more of the same, and I love it with the story. Venom is done so much better in this than he was in the film. The ending is better. Just everything about it is more satisfying and feels more true to Spider-Man than Spider-Man 3, the film. And it's cool seeing the stuff that was added in from the comics put into this one, and Tobey Maguire get more to do, not only as a hero Spider-Man, but when he starts to get corrupted by the symbiote of Venom in the symbiote suit. It was so cool playing Spider-Man 2 on PS5 and seeing that symbiote suit again. Brought me back memories of this game. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this, and it was definitely a highlight and a good fitting ending for the Tobey Maguire era of video games. After that, at number 5 is Spider-Man from 2000. This is perhaps one of the best Spider-Man games and probably the best superhero game pre-Arkham Asylum is Spider-Man 2018. Seriously, I had so much fun with this as a child, playing this after school, renting it from Hollywood Video, and then my parents giving this to me on Christmas, and then playing this over and over with friends, the cheats, and then the villains, you know, with Carnage. You have Venom in this, probably one of the best portrayals of Venom outside of the Spider-Man 2 game on PS5. I love the exposition musical score, Doc Ock, Rhino, J. Jonah Jameson getting attacked by Scorpion, and seeing the symbiote invasion. Parker hates it when I get the drop on him. I hate it when he gets the drop on me. And then later seeing Captain America, like, this is such a great video game. It's like the 90s Spidey cartoon come to life. After that, at number 4, for me, is Spider-Man 2, 2004. The film version is probably one of the finest movie tie-in games, but it also excelled Spider-Man in gaming forever. Like, the mechanics set up here is what was basically refined and perfected in 2018. I love seeing the movie actors again, but playing almost like a GTA open sandbox Spider-Man was just amazing at the time. The scale of the city, you actually having to aim at buildings instead of the sky. It had realistic swinging there, juggling all the side activities with the main story. Seeing again what was added from the comics onto the main movie story, and the cutscenes had phenomenal CGI. Like, guys, you gotta understand, back then, like, going from Spider-Man the movie to Spider-Man 2 was a huge step up. Anything was possible after this. Like, Arkham City, Spider-Man 2018, you wouldn't have that without this video game. And the way the gameplay was utilized, just as superb as the film itself that year. After that, at number 3 is Spider-Man Miles Morales. I absolutely love Miles Morales. Like, he was one of my favorite characters of the comics, and then Into the Spider-Verse was just phenomenal. And then this takes it a step further here in the soundtrack, and a great continuation to Spider-Man 2018. I played the original Spider-Man on PS4, so I had to get used to Peter Parker's Tom Holland face, so to speak. But once you get beyond that, this is really Miles' story, and it's nice seeing Miles as a sidekick and kind of becoming his own hero in a way after the events of Spider-Man 2018, dealing with the loss of his father, dealing with his mom being mayor, dealing with this new bad guy in town, this other corporation of Roxxon, and dealing with his uncle being the Prowler. I love this, and it has a Christmas winter setting that's just perfect. Like the way Batman Arkham Origins was perfect for Christmas, this is perfect. So many nods to the comics and films as well. This is just an awesome story from start to finish, heartfelt. It has everything you want from a Spider-Man and Marvel story. After that, at number 2, for me, is Spider-Man 2. This game was amazing. Perhaps one of the best mechanics with the wing suits going through the tunnels. I can tell Insomniac did Spyro the Dragon and then playing that. I love the fast travel in this. But juggling between two Spider-Mans is done so well. The only knock I have, and it's not really a knock against developers or anything, it's just my personal preference, it just did a little bit too much. Like, it was action overload to the point where, like, I couldn't just, like, slow down a bit. It really starts getting into its groove when Harry Osborn comes into the picture. You get to have flashbacks. You get to have them reunite. You get to see MJ and Peter Parker dealing with Aunt May's house and mortgages and their jobs. That is when it gets better, as well as the symbiote suit. This has to be one of the best Venom stories I have seen utilized, where it's not like, I'm just going to be bad. It's like, no, it's almost like a drug. It's almost like seeing somebody dealing with like a drug addiction and seeing how it's really the symbiote speaking and not the person. It's Venom speaking, not Peter or Harry. And it's so cool how they do the symbiote suit storyline. And Venom is wonderfully voiced by Tony Todd. Oh my god, this Venom is just gnarly. Even down to the wings near the end of the game. I've never seen Venom look that demonic. I mean, that's some real Todd McFarlane Spawn shit there. And of course, Todd McFarlane created Venom, so it was just perfect in that regard. And then seeing Miles deal with the loss of his father, Martin Lee getting out of prison and dealing with vengeance. And this is really about forgiveness. Seeing Kraven, his story is kind of a sad story in many ways. This is such a darker, more adult entry. It's pretty much like the Dark Knight from Batman Begins. It's what it felt like. The stakes were high in this one. And it's just an amazing story from start to finish. These video games, these new video games, make you feel like you're Spider-Man. But for me, at number 1 is Spider-Man 2018, and I love the original Peter Parker face model. I thought they did a better job of it in Spider-Man 2. The original Spider-Man, he actually felt like he was an aged Peter Parker. He felt like he was an old, weathered Spider-Man that's been doing this for quite some time. And I love seeing Peter Parker juggle with a lot of things, dealing with rent, dealing with his job with Otto Octavius, and that story was probably one of the most compelling versions of Otto Octavius I have seen. Seeing Aunt May at Feast, you know, that's one thing that was incorporated into the movies after the video game. That arc is just so well done, and it just leaves you crying at the end. This is one of only 3 video games I ever cried on at the end. It just wrecked me. He's superhuman, but he still deals with human problems. Stan Lee's cameo is always iconic, and I love the relationship between him and MJ. MJ is a little bit more like a Lois Lane character here, something very different than the previous comics. It reinvents things while also staying true to them. You know, it doesn't veer too far off where it's not Spider-Man. Seeing how they incorporate Miles Morales. Martin Lee as Mr. Negative is probably one of the best villains I've seen in a long time in Spider-Man. This video game is just awesome. That opening with Alive by Warbly Jets and having Spider-Man fight Wilson Fisk Kingpin is just iconic. Just had everything with the action, gameplay, and the story. This is everything I love about Spider-Man. Anyway, that's just my personal favorite, so feel free down in the comments below. Share your top 10 favorite Spider-Man video games, or at least your favorite Spider-Man video game, down in the comments below. In the meantime, you can check out these other videos for more content. May everyone stay safe and healthy out there. Till next time, everyone.